How did a man who was once a political outcast become the United Kingdom's beacon of hope during its darkest hours? This is the story of Winston Churchill, a man whose life was as tumultuous and unpredictable as the history he helped to shape. Churchill's early political career was characterized by a series of highs and lows. Born into an aristocratic family, he was a man of keen intellect and ambition. He held various positions in government, including First Lord of the Admiralty during the First World War. But his role in the disastrous Gallipoli campaign led to his fall from grace, forcing him into a period known as his political wilderness. Throughout the 1930s, Churchill was largely marginalized, his warnings about the rise of Nazi Germany falling on deaf ears. He was seen as a maverick, a lone voice crying out against appeasement. But as the clouds of war gathered over Europe, his prescience became apparent. In May 1940, as the situation grew increasingly dire, Churchill was appointed Prime Minister. It was a role he seemed born to fill. He immediately set about galvanizing the nation with his forceful personality and stirring rhetoric. His first speech as Prime Minister was a masterclass in leadership. He promised the British people nothing less than blood, toil, tears and sweat in the fight against tyranny. There were no false promises of easy victory, only the grim determination to fight and to prevail. His words resonated deeply with a nation on the brink of its greatest challenge. He didn't just speak to the British people, he spoke for them. He gave voice to their fears, their hopes, and their unwavering resolve. Churchill's leadership and eloquence rallied the spirits of the British people, setting the stage for his defining role in the Second World War. His rise from political exile to the highest office in the land is a testament to his tenacity and vision. It was these qualities that would guide him and the nation he led through the trials and tribulations that lay ahead. With the war well underway, how did Churchill's strategic decisions shape the course of the conflict? As the dark clouds of World War II loomed over Europe, Churchill's role as Britain's Prime Minister thrust him into the epicenter of decision-making. One of his most audacious moves was the outright rejection of Adolf Hitler's peace offer in 1940. Churchill believed in the principle of victory at all costs, and he knew that any compromise with the Nazi regime would only embolden its destructive path. His conviction was not just limited to his own nation. Churchill understood the importance of alliances in such trying times. Hence, he worked tirelessly to establish a grand alliance with two superpowers, the United States and the USSR. This was no easy task, given the ideological differences between the three nations. Yet Churchill's persuasive diplomacy succeeded in forging this alliance, creating a united front against Nazi Germany. Churchill's strategic vision also extended to the battlefield. He was a strong advocate for the strategic bombing of Germany. Churchill believed that by relentlessly attacking Germany's industrial and transportation networks, the Allies could cripple the Nazi war machine and hasten the end of the conflict. Critics questioned the morality and effectiveness of such a campaign, but Churchill was unwavering. He saw the bombing campaign as a necessary evil to bring about the downfall of the Nazi regime. Churchill's strategic decisions were not always universally popular or without controversy, but they were bold, decisive, and grounded in his unwavering commitment to defeat the forces of tyranny. His leadership during the darkest hours of World War II shaped the course of the conflict, steering it towards the path of eventual Allied victory. Churchill's strategic decisions laid the groundwork for the eventual Allied victory, but it was his next move that would truly turn the tide of the war. As the war raged on, how did Churchill and his allies plan for the largest seaborne invasion in history? This is a question that weaves a tale of strategy, courage, and the determination to bring an end to one of the world's darkest periods. In the early stages of planning, Churchill was initially skeptical about the feasibility of such an enormous undertaking. He had reservations about the significant risks involved. The lives of thousands of soldiers were at stake. He was concerned about the weather, the strength of German defenses, and the sheer logistical challenge of landing and supplying such a large force over open beaches. However, as discussions with his allies, particularly American President Franklin D. Roosevelt, continued, Churchill recognized the potential of the ambitious plan. It was a gamble, yes, but it was one that could turn the tide of the war and bring about the downfall of Nazi Germany. And so, the decision to proceed was made. Yet, the Normandy Invasion, or Operation Overlord as it was codenamed, was not something that could be rushed into. It required meticulous preparation, which took over a year. The Allies began gathering intelligence using every resource at their disposal. They conducted aerial reconnaissance, collected reports from the French resistance, and even utilized specially designed weather forecasting technology to predict the best day for the invasion. Meanwhile, on the ground, troops were being trained rigorously, with mock invasions and exercises to prepare them for the real deal. A massive force of nearly 3 million men was assembled from various Allied nations, ready to storm the beaches of Normandy. The planning for D-Day was a monumental task that tested the leadership, resolve, and strategic acumen of Churchill and his fellow Allied leaders. It was a test they met with determination, courage, and an unwavering belief in the justness of their cause. With the stage set, Churchill's leadership would soon be put to the ultimate test. The planning phase was over, and the time for action was upon them. The success of D-Day was now in the hands of those brave men about to embark on the most significant military operation in history. On June 6, 1944, the world held its breath. How did Churchill's leadership influence the outcome of D-Day? As dawn broke on this historic day, the largest seaborne invasion in history was launched, its success hanging in the balance. But behind this daring military operation was a leader whose unwavering resolve and strategic brilliance were instrumental in its execution. That leader was Winston Churchill. Churchill, who had long since recognized the need for a decisive blow against Nazi Germany, was instrumental in the planning and execution of this critical operation. His inspirational speeches, both behind closed doors and to the public, galvanized the Allied forces and steeled them for the battle ahead. He spoke of victory, of freedom, of a world rid of tyranny. These were not just words to Churchill, they were a vision, a promise, and a call to action. Yet, Churchill's leadership was not just about inspiring rhetoric, it was also about making tough decisions. One of the most pivotal of these was his decision to let General Dwight Eisenhower, the supreme commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force, command the operation. This was a significant move demonstrating Churchill's understanding of the importance of unified command and his willingness to put aside national pride for the greater good. The day unfolded with the landing of over 150,000 Allied troops on the beaches of Normandy. Despite the challenges, the operation was a success, largely due to the meticulous planning and strategic foresight that Churchill had provided. His leadership had not only helped to secure a foothold in Nazi-occupied Europe, but also boosted the morale of the Allies, providing a much-needed boost in their fight against tyranny. Churchill's leadership during the Normandy Invasion marked a turning point in the war, signaling the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. His actions that day, and in the months and years that followed, would forever shape the course of history, demonstrating the power of determined leadership in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. As the dust settled on the war-torn landscape, what was the impact of Churchill's leadership? This question provokes us to delve into the immense legacy of this indomitable leader. Churchill's leadership during the Second World War was nothing short of monumental. His unwavering resolve, strategic acumen, and eloquent oratory were pivotal in steering the Allies towards victory. Beyond the battlefield, Churchill's influence was deeply felt in the post-war world. He was instrumental in shaping the New World Order, with a vision of peace and cooperation. Churchill foresaw the necessity of unity among nations to prevent further global conflict, leading to the creation of the United Nations. His famous Iron Curtain speech in 1946 also drew attention to the emerging threat of Soviet expansionism, marking the unofficial beginning of the Cold War. Yet, Churchill's legacy is not just confined to his wartime leadership or geopolitical foresight. His enduring influence permeates global politics to this day. His speeches, filled with soaring rhetoric and steadfast determination, continue to inspire leaders worldwide. His famous phrase, "Never, never, never give up," is a testament to his indomitable spirit, reminding us all that resilience in the face of adversity is a cornerstone of great leadership. Moreover, his life serves as a beacon of hope, emphasizing that failure is not fatal. Churchill's political career was marked by several ups and downs, yet he always rose from the ashes, stronger and more determined. This resilience, coupled with his visionary leadership, has solidified his place in history as one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century. Churchill's legacy is a testament to the power of individual will, strategic foresight, and resilient leadership. His impact echoes through the annals of history, reminding us of the indomitable human spirit and its capacity to shape the world. In conclusion, Churchill's decisive leadership during World War II shaped the course of history, proving that one man's resolve can indeed change the world.